guys, you know. Wow! Contagious disease and topic!
I'm Siobhan.
Hi, I'm Fauzi.
I'm Cheryl.
Hi, I'm Leah, and this is
ZULA ChickChats.
So today we're going to be talking about social media and whether it's okay to kind of stalk your ex on social media, guys, you know. Wow! Contagious disease and topic!
I think the
Allergic to the topic,
I
is
think
it?
the ex thinking of me.
Okay, speaking of your ex, what usually happens to you guys, you know, after you break up with your ex, and what do you usually do after that?
No, actually, generally, like most of my breakups are mutual. Most of the time, I stay somewhat amicable. I'm not gonna cut my my ex off completely lah. That's not gonna happen. So yeah.
I'll just completely cut off though. But I will try to like block and then like just delete him off, delete the chat, delete his photos.
Wow.
Yeah.
A bit like chef. So we'll go through this grey area before we have this huge fight. Then I'll be like, I need to cut this out of my life, and then I will just like block. And then sometimes I will even delete all his friends.
Right.
But it's because, you know, sometimes like they post, then his face will come out.
Yeah. As in for me personally, I think that it depends on the breakup, right? So if it's a good breakup and I don't have any more feelings for the other party and stuff like that, right? Then I think it's okay to have on social media.
Right.
If you have feelings for the person and you constantly see the person on your feed, just more triggered by it. And then every time you see, you're like,
It's like a stab in the heart every time you see that.
I won't try to be friends after that because I think it's very difficult to be friends immediately after you break up. Maybe over a period of a few
I
months.
think it's a bit dependent also if you guys were friends first.
That's exactly what I wanted
right.
to say. 'Cause
Yeah.
most of mine was always like friends first. For me, it would be easier to go back
Yes.
to being just
I
friends.
think easier, but at the same time, immediately after a breakup, your boundaries are like damn unclear.
Yeah, they're blue.
So it's like you can be friends, but then it's sometimes you're like, oh, do we make out? Do you still stay digitally connected with your ex? If yes, why? And if no, why not?
I've never been in the habit of blocking or unfollowing someone. If I unfollow you means you are boring. Sorry. Occasionally, I will come across the new picture they post or like a story that they post. Then I'm like, oh, nice. Sometimes deep down, I still feel like if we were still together, I still
That
think.
is true, that
yeah,
is
I still think about it. Used to find myself getting insanely jealous because you scroll through like Instagram and you see this person enjoying himself or herself. It might be like stirring some sort of emotion there. I figured out how to kind of segment my mind to focus on more important things.
It's like not all of my exes. I think I'm only closer to the ones that can still be friends. Like some others, right, it's like if I'm connected with them, right, then I'm very scared that, how is it, you can tell they're not really over it. And they will try to like slide your DM, still kind of like be a bit funny. So only if they're completely over it, then I feel that it's okay to be connected online. To me, right, it's a bit of like a public show. It's like to tell people that like, hey, you know what, like we are both on good terms, like stop probing. If not, people will always like to ask, like, hey, so and so unfollow who. It becomes like a social thing, like I feel like.
Okay, no, because usually it stems from the idea of like what is a toxic relationship or not. If I keep in contact with them, I confirm, right, I will like try something funny, like go for the D or like anything. So like, you know, there's always that grey area. And I've realized like each breakup then it comes shorter and shorter because I realized it's really like not healthy for me. The way to really just like be more emotionally stable for myself is just to like delete.
That's true.
But even if you have a boyfriend, you cannot follow.
I cannot. Like when you love someone, right, you will never ever completely stop loving that person. So it's like even if you're together and you have a new love and you really love your partner a lot, that part of you like maybe 17 years old, you would have loved another person. Okay, so like I blocked like my ex-boyfriend, everything, right, unfollow. But then like he still followed my cat. It's very crazy. Like I will switch to my cat's account just to like see his profile lah. Like once in a while, like
This is something that really people do.
when I stalk him, it's always like it's like part guilt, but also like part like I hope he's like doing better. Like,
I have some exes that I'm okay with and friends with on like social media and stuff, but I have some that I'm totally like not at all. The period of time that I thought that I could be like, okay, it's fine lah, we can just follow on social media because I can just ignore it. At most I just scroll past lah. I don't really need to see what, right? I don't want to be immature about it. When I scroll through that, I get a bit like sentimental. I think a bit like, oh, you can't like the person. I used to like his photos, but then there was a time where I couldn't like his photos anymore. I felt like I don't want to like it because I just sad or whatever. After a period of time where it was too bad already, right, I blocked and unfollowed. After that, oh my god, my life became like so much easier.
I know, right?
For the first time in forever.
It's really, you don't realize it until when you actually finally do it. So in this case, why do you think you guys want to stalk your ex on social media?
What do you mean I want to? I don't want to.
Okay. Why do you think people will stalk their ex on social media? Like some people.
To just see whether or not you lead a better life lah. Really
It's
what?
true.
Actually right, I think that people who stalk their exes a bit like cannot move on. It's like, what? It's like if your ex came back and then like try to court you again, would you say yes?
Yes. Okay, of course there are people who will stalk, right? Like they will like
The
obsess.
extremes.
Yeah, they will obsess
obsession.
over it. Because during your relationship, you may have established such a connection with each other, right? Even though the romantic relationship didn't work out, you still maybe have the care for that person. So you just want to see how the person is doing. And I don't see there's anything wrong with that.
If I block you everything, right, it means that I really like the person a lot and I love the person a lot that I cannot stand to see the person, you know what I mean?
I think it helps with the grieving process. You're very used to seeing them every day, right? So social media becomes the only way like you can really see them. It kind of helps you come to terms with that this person is not going to be in your life anymore.
Stalking, right? It happens, the peak will be just after the breakup. And then it will slowly dwindle.
I think it's also when certain things you see in
Right.
real life that remind you of him.
Again, it's okay to like once in a while check on the person as long as you don't let it affect you to the extent that you're like obsessive, not taking care of yourself, then that might be a problem.
I think it's like it's okay to like check in terms of like just see their photos.
Yeah.
But if you're going to like check who they are following, who
Oh.
they are following, you can
That's
see like
going too
who,
far.
like which picture your friend like, right? Yeah. So,
Can ah?
Can.
I show you.
mind blown. No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying it helps you read too much into things.
And then you keep wanting to know so much about this person's life. It's gonna affect you a lot because the person doesn't really care about your life also. So why should you care so much about this person's life? Ultimately, it's your own guilty pleasure. When you think nobody else is gonna know that you're stalking. What are some alternative ways you can help someone move on from their breakup?
Focus on other things like
Yes.
work.
Okay, yeah.
Your life, right, is 100%. You separate it accordingly to what you want to focus on. The relationship sometimes expands a little bit and then suddenly it just breaks off. You have a little bit more free time there. Think about what more you want to do that you couldn't do while you were in your relationship, as opposed to, of course, like using that 50% of the time, for example, to go and like stalk the person.
Yeah.
So it's not productive.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's-
Go and learn something new. Like go and learn things I learned how to do is like I learned how to sew. I went to put together IKEA furniture. Things that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
Things that I wanted to do. Redecorate my room. I can do that.
True.
You know, so focus on other things that are more productive. Like eventually you'll forget about your ex.
I just focus on different pillars in my life.
Yeah.
So just because one pillar broke down doesn't mean like you just like demolish all
Okay,
three.
my
lah.
house can still stand on 3 pillars.
To do more hobbies, you know, I spend more time doing my makeup. I spend a bit more time with myself, do manicure or something,
Yeah,
go for
yeah.
a massage.
Treat
Yeah,
yourself.
everyone says this wow, every time you break up, right, you get more chill. Because you spend more time out young,
true.
you know, you get very lazy, very noir, then you just like don't care
Wear
about like your
slipper,
weight. Yeah, it's
Less.
but I think a lot of it that really helped, right, honestly, religion. I read a lot of like Buddhist texts to kind of understand, you know, about letting go. So that actually helped me to like
Wisdom.
Zen.
Yes.
oh yeah, but then again, if you're going on a date with a guy, well, it really helps though. It makes you feel like you're wanted or like you're back in the
Right.
game.
When you date people, right, you must also let them know that this is like not anything serious. When you date all these people, you need to be emotionally stable enough for yourself. You know when to stop lah.
So recently I broke up with like my ex. Now I have so much more free time to go and like dance, chase my Korean idols. But you'll feel more happy that you have accomplished something and you don't really need to focus on what has been already done and gone in your life.
I said it's also nice, right, to spend more time helping others. In a sense,
Yes.
you can volunteer.
Yeah.
Because you realize, right, like even though someone couldn't give you that love, you can give this love to someone else, and you realize how much they appreciate it, which gives you more meaning in life.
One thing I want to say is
You do
you do you. You do you! So today we talked about whether it's okay to be stalking your exes, and I think based on our conversation, I think we concluded that as long as it doesn't affect you adversely, it's okay to check in on your exes once in a while.
So if you guys have any experiences, you need some advice, feel free to share it in the comments below and let us know what else to talk about next time.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Bye!